I absolutely loved growing up in the mountains. I mean, I think that there weren't many better places that I could have grown up than Steamboat. I feel like there's always something I want to be doing outside. You know, I have 2 horses, so sometimes horseback riding or snowboarding, so it's definitely a bummer when I'm thinking, well, I should stay in and do school for the day rather than going out and riding my horses or going up on the mountain. Growing up in a mountain town, it's kind of a natural progression to be into some sort of outdoor sport, whether it's playing soccer, or skiing, or snowboarding. I feel like all of us are super active, so I think I'm really fortunate to have grown up there. Yeah, I have 2 horses named Sparky and Bugs, and I've been riding horses since I was 2 years old. It's always been something I've been really passionate about, and I mean, even before snowboarding, it was something that I thought that would be a big part of my careers. Horses in some way, whether it was being a vet or being an equestrian. I never really knew, but then snowboarding came into the picture and kind of took over. But I've definitely got thrown off countless times, not just by those 2 horses, but by any horses that I've ridden in the past. But yeah, I mean, if anything, I feel like snowboarding has just made falling off a horse seem a lot mellower, just like some of the crashes I've taken in snowboarding. It's funny, when I was younger, I never saw snowboarding becoming anything more than just a hobby. So as I've gone through the years and started to move up in the rankings, I've started to progress more and realize that it could potentially be a career. So I think for the next year or so, I'm just gonna keep staying on this circuit. And I mean, especially after having that injury at the Olympics, it's a lot of motivation going into next season to just be as strong as I can mentally and physically, and hopefully next season will be a little bit better. Well, me and my brother grew up together doing everything, and you know, at first we kind of were doing different sports. You know, he was skateboarding and snowboarding, and I was riding my horses, and then once I started snowboarding, it was something that we did together pretty much all the time. So we've been training together ever since I started, and so we just have a really strong relationship through snowboarding, and we're able to support each other and push each other to try new tricks, which I think has been really beneficial for both of us. Yeah, I think he's taught me a lot more than I've taught him. I mean, I think that sometimes I'm trying to push him, and you know, I'll be like, you can go bigger on that trick, but I never really coach him or anything, just because, you know, I think he knows better than I do what he needs to work on. But I think that's what we help each other a lot with, is just pushing each other in ways that sometimes our coaches necessarily wouldn't push. I'd say Taylor is one of the biggest role models in my life. I mean, just with how much time we spend together snowboarding, I mean, he's the one that's influenced me throughout my entire snowboarding career, whether it's just starting snowboarding in the first place or keeping with it and getting on the circuit that I'm doing now. I definitely have always looked up to the other girls in snowboarding. I mean, Gretchen Bleiler, Kelly Clark, Hannah Teeter. I've always looked up to those girls ever since I first started snowboarding, so it's pretty cool to be up here competing against them now. This season I haven't had a whole lot of time to ride for myself. It's been such a crazy season that we've been, you know, at Olympic qualifiers all over the place. So I really haven't had a whole lot of time to ride outside of contests, but even the past few days I've been trying to do some soul shredding, just riding for fun and not stressing about trying scary tricks and just enjoying snowboarding. And yeah, I mean, unfortunately I don't do that as much as I would like to, but I mean, on the other hand, I love competing. It's something that I've always enjoyed doing. I've been a naturally competitive person, so I think that's also a super fun part of the sport, is being able to push myself through competing and riding with all the other girls that I compete with. Right after the crash was the hardest part for me. I didn't know what I had done to my shoulder or anything. I was just kind of going with the flow and hoping that I could somehow get back into practice and still compete. But after finding out it was dislocated, I knew that I wouldn't be able to go back out there, and it was definitely a really big bummer at first, but then I kind of started to come to terms with it, and I just didn't want to let it bother me for too long. The Olympic experience was awesome. I mean, I had so much fun just going there with the whole team and getting to see what it's all about, you know, going through opening ceremonies and the training days, and even being around for the contests and just seeing kind of the vibe around the contests. And I think that was really beneficial for me, just because hopefully there will be another one in the future and I'll have a better idea of what to expect when that comes. So that's a big thing that I'd say Kelly taught me, was just that although the Olympics are, you know, rare, there's only one every 4 years, it's definitely an experience to enjoy regardless of how it turns out, and hopefully there will be more in the future.